Viking here from Nagel's Gun Shop in San Antonio, Texas, and today I've got a lot of Staccatos to show you. This Staccato right here is a pistol that we have that's pre-owned actually. This is not a new pistol, but it's in pretty good shape. We try to keep brand new Staccato C2s and the like in stock, and this is a C2. They're very good firearms. We sell them like crazy. They're excellent shooters. If you actually go out to the range with one of these, you'll see why people buy them and keep them. They shoot great. They have very easy to control recoil because it's a 1911 style gun with a double stack frame. They have an excellent set of controls and grip. It all works out very, very well. And they're very well made, very well fitted. They have good parts, good finishes, good mating surfaces between all the precision parts. And they have that 1911 trigger on it, which is something obviously beneficial to shooting. There's a reason these are popular. There's a reason that they're great guns to have. This one in particular is the C2. It's their slightly more compact model. It has the slightly shorter slide and barrel. It doesn't have like a huge grip with like a flared magwell on the end that's bigger than just the normal default one that they have. That makes it a little easier to carry. It's kind of a semi-compact gun, but not a subcompact. It does have a double stack magazine. This one's 16 rounds. Some of the other ones are different capacities, but for a flush fit that's pretty good. And of course it's a 9mm, so it's very easy shooting, very low recoil. So we try to keep guns like this in stock, but today I have two things to show you from Staccato that are brand new limited editions. They're not going to be in large numbers. It's going to be hard to get a hold of one of these. So one of them I have is also C2, like the first one that I just showed you, the used one. This one's brand new, and it has a couple of limited edition features that you're not going to see on every gun out there. It's going to be hard to find these. For one right off the bat, it's a C2, but this one's got a threaded barrel, which is a really big deal. Suppressors are very popular. They make guns a lot more fun to shoot, a lot easier to shoot, especially with new shooters or various other people that might be a little more shy to hearing the report of a pistol. You put a suppressor on the end of this, and it makes it just a joy to shoot. It's kind of like shooting a BB gun. And especially, the 1911 platform, which this is, kind of the child of, works very well with suppressors. A lot of pistols are very picky about suppressors and ammo and all of that, but the 1911 operating system is very, very forgiving for a suppressor, so you can generally just put one straight on here and not worry too much about having to balance it or get a recoil booster or anything like that. Sometimes you will, but they're much more forgiving than, say, a Glock or a lot of other more modern, quote-unquote modern designs. So if you want to put a suppressor on a pistol, this is going to be one of your best bets right out of the gate. It's already got the threaded barrel. Suppressor can go right on there. It's got an operating system that works well with suppression. It's got a lot of rounds available. It's got a very ergonomic grip. It's got good controls, good manual safety, all of those features. So that's one thing that's really nice to have with this one, is you already have that threaded barrel. Another thing is this barrel is DLC coated. DLC coating is a diamond-like coating, as they call it, and it's one of the best firearms finishes you can possibly get. I actually have a knife that's almost 12 years old now that I've carried pretty much daily. I'm amazed it survived this long, considering how I treat knives, and it has a DLC coating on it. It's one of the first things you could really get with DLC coating in kind of the consumer sphere. And that knife looks practically new. It's been used to open boxes almost daily, all sorts of stuff. And other than having to resharpen it, a bunch of times, the finish itself, despite being kept in a pocket or with keys and all sorts of stuff, has held up amazingly well. It's actually worn my keys down more than the knife, which is pretty crazy. And of course, a knife usually has a harder time with finishes day to day than a pistol does. In this case, this barrel on here only has to survive the sliding, action of the slide over it. That's all the finish has got to do. It's got to protect from the sliding action and protect from rust and corrosion. And it's going to do a great job at that. DLC is actually one of the smoothest coatings you can get. There are a few that are slightly smoother, but almost all of those are less durable. So when it comes to holding up to regular use, it's going to be one of the best choices you could get for a finish. It's very, very smooth. It's not going to impart a lot of wear onto the slide or itself, and it's also extremely hard. It's little diamonds that are grown on the surface that are so small that they're actually black in color. They absorb light. The light can't escape them, right? That's why it's black. It's actually like a diamond, though. It's very small, kind of like a sharpening stone, but with even smaller diamond crystals than that. And as a result, it's a very, very good finish for gun parts. And you know, that's one thing you don't see very often on Staccatos. You know, it's come and gone over the years, but if you can get one with the LC stuff, get that. It's gonna be the best finish you could have. Also, it's got these cuts on it, these cuts in the slide. These cuts are their XC cuts. You know, a lot of people will buy like a Staccato or something, or some other high-end 1911 type gun, and they'll send it off to some kind of gunsmith or shop to have cuts put in the slide and various other parts. And they kind of go for the same effect and the benefits of it and all that, but the problem is if you send it off to like a gunsmith, you're voiding your factory warranty if you have big cuts in the slide made, all right? This is a factory gun. They did that for you. It's still going to be covered by the factory warranty. You know, it's actually done by the people that make it. They know what they're doing. It's not someone that's just adding some cuts to significant material without knowing like the engineering details of this gun. So it's really nice to have that as a factory you know, option you can get that comes on these limited editions. It's not very often you see that on these. Also, this gun has the alloy frame. Now, a lot of people think alloy frames don't really matter on Staccatos because, or you know, STI style 2011 type guns, because the grip is polymer and the grip is a separate piece from the frame, and they think that that saves them like all the weight that they need. But the reality is there's a lot of potential steel in this frame steel. It's still this big piece of metal, right? Runs all the way from the front of the gun all the way back to pretty much where your thumb is. It's a huge piece of metal. And if you get this out of steel, it's actually still pretty hefty. It's not a trivial amount of weight. And if you make this out of aluminum, like this one is, alloy, instead of steel, it's actually about a third the weight for the same amount of material. And there's a reason that pretty much every modern pistol that's made that isn't a polymer, you know, all polymer frame, they're generally alloy frames. And it's perfectly good material for the job. It does a great job, but it's very, very light. And that's why you kind of want that on a carry gun. You're actually saving quite a few ounces by using the alloy frame on this Staccato. And if you're going to carry the gun every day, you're actually going to carry it. It's not just going to be something you go shoot at the range. Every ounce on your hip matters. You know, people don't think that's as important as it is, but it really is. If you ask anyone that carries a firearm daily on their hip, and you know, someone who has a good, you know, concealed carry background, does it every day, or maybe, you know, someone like law enforcement or military that actually carries a sidearm every day, there's a reason they end up getting really good belts and they end up having to take all these extra steps, because that weight on the side of your body every day really imparts a lot of stress, and every ounce that you can save makes that gun more comfortable to carry, gives you less problems, less stress around your waistline, all of those issues. So it's not a trivial thing. You want to cut as much weight off of a carry gun as you can, and an alloy frame is the most obvious way to do it right off the bat. There's no reason to have steel here when you can have aluminum. This gun also has another interesting limited edition thing. It has a 2.5 pound trigger, which is a really light, really crisp trigger. You don't see that, you know, on most Staccatos. It is about half the weight of your average, you know, Staccato or 1911 trigger. And you know, regular Staccato triggers are good, but this one is just really, really easy to shoot. I mean, it's as light as you're going to get it on a gun from factory. You know, I cannot think of a pistol with lighter factory triggers than this on something like a semi-auto pistol like this. It's very light, very short take up, very, very sharp, crisp break, and the reset on it is going to be just a dream. You know, yeah, very short, very, very tactile. So it's about the best combination you can get on a trigger right there. It's absolutely awesome. And of course, these do have the double stack magazines, you know, 16 rounds in a mag. This gun is going to come with 3 of them, and they're Gen 3s, because we have the one there and then the 2 others that come in the package, all factory. And that is the C2 version. Now there's also going to be a P version, which is the full size, you might call it, gun. Now of course, these standards are always changing. You know, this is what used to be called a full size pistol, but pistols are kind of getting smaller. Now I would say this is definitely on the bigger side, but if you're going to go shoot competition or you just want a really, really capable sidearm, this would still be an excellent choice. It is a fairly large pistol, but it will shoot softer because it's larger in size. People forget the more grip you have and the more, you know, all of those things, the easier the gun is to shoot. You know, both a 365 from SIG and this gun are in 9mm, but because this one's bigger and gives you more grip, it will be easier to shoot. So that's a big factor to consider. If you want an easy to shoot gun, go big. If you want an easy to carry gun, go small. If you're carrying outside the waistband, don't really care about concealment, this would be a good choice. It is still fairly light because it has an alloy frame just like the first one I showed you. It's a limited edition with that. But it is larger, it has more grip, it will be easier to shoot. It also has the longer sight radius if that's important to you. You can mount a red dot on it as well. It's got that slightly longer barrel, which will be good for velocity if you're trying to shoot some kind of high velocity 9mm, which is increasingly a thing. And for that you want all the barrel length you can get. It's got the threaded barrel just like the other one, so if you want to put a suppressor on it, this with a suppressor would shoot like a BB gun. It will be very, very light shooting. It's also got the cuts on it just like the other one, so those are nice and well done cuts, very attractive, and of course they're factory, so no worry about, you know, voiding your warranty having some random shop or gunsmith do cuts on your slide. It does have the extended magazine, so we got 20 rounds in this mag, 21 rounds in the gun if you have a loaded chamber. It's got the extended magazine well, so I mean you can't possibly miss getting that magazine in there. It's super easy. You can pretty much hold the gun upside down and just drop it in. It's very easy to get the magazine in there. It'd be hard to mess that up even under stress. It's got the same alloy frame, so that's nice. Very, very light, saving quite a few ounces there. And the same 2.5 pound trigger on this one, so it's going to be a very easy to shoot gun. It's honestly, if you're looking for a suppressor host and you don't mind it being on the larger side, because that's maybe what you're going for if you're putting a suppressor on it, this would be an excellent choice. So these are both limited edition guns. They're going to be great shooters. We'd be glad to put one in your hand, assuming we have one in stock if you want to come by and look at one. We are going to try to keep them, but like I said, they're a limited edition. They're not always going to be around. So if you want to try to get one of these, come visit us. But that's about all I can say on YouTube. And we'd be glad to let you take a look at one of these and just see what all the hype is about on them. Come see us at 6201 San Pedro Avenue in San Antonio, Texas, or give us a call at 210-342-5420. Have a good day.